I got to ask you one of the coolest questions. This actually came from Brady. And it was actually one of the hardest moments in my podcasting career. And it happened like before we even had a name for this thing. It was when I went down to Sheridan. We didn't have a name for the pod. We didn't have any episodes. You were in Sheridan also.
Yeah.
I came down with all the boys.
Winter.
Yep. Winter. Yep. We had everybody there. You were playing your guitar right before. And then you popped in for a couple like moments of the episode. But Brady asked me a question that like floored me as a podcaster, and it's stuck with me and I'm using it now. But we're like, I'm nervous as fuck, right? We've got no podcast, nothing to show. We're just like throwing up a hope and a prayer. And right as all the lights and stuff get done, we're about to press play and Brady looks at me and goes, what are we doing this for? In typical Brady fashion. Yeah. I was just like, oh shit, what are we doing this for?
It's funny is his nature of curiosity. Well, and you're a deep guy. I feel like most people wouldn't see that as a deep question.
Right. Well, at first I didn't. At first it caught me off guard just because by nature of me just being a little bit like frazzled. And I was like, wait, does he not want to do it? Like, what the hell? But then I realized he was like, no, dude, like we're going to take 2.5 hours to be on these microphones. And we've got all these lights and shit set up. Like what is this episode about? What's it for? What are we doing this for? And, that's been one of the coolest questions that I've started asking people is like, if we're going to take the time to do this, what is it for? What is it about?
Yeah.
So talk to me about that thing for you today.
I don't know, bro. I just, whenever, even if it's a week or so, there's always these intervals and you know how my brain works, bro. I'm kind of always churning butter. Yeah. In the past 2 weeks, I've had some weird revelations and just kind of leading up into this tour, like rehearsing these old songs and songs I haven't played in forever. And it's funny, I was asking myself like, what is the purpose of this? Like, is it for me? Is it for the fans? Is it actually to celebrate 10 years? Like, is 10 years of this record that monumental to me? And then the answer is like, I don't know. But I think what is important is using this as kind of like an active ceremony to close an old chapter. Because I'm not the dude that wrote those songs anymore, like at all. I still love them and I'm still like,
yeah,
there's an inherent part of me that's like, yeah, no, like I still believe in those songs. I believe in the work of those songs, but I'm not a 24-year-old kid.
Right.
You know, I'm not the 24-year-old kid, and emphasis on kid because I didn't know anything. I didn't know how to do anything. You know, I didn't even have a bank account. You know, so like I'm definitely not that dude anymore.
Just slinging coffee and writing songs.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Yeah.
What's that like, being in a spot where you've got stuff that people connect with now and you've got stuff that people connect with from 10 years ago, but the perception might be that it's all a continuous, same guy, the same thing. It's all like one package.
Well, it kind of is. You know, I think like we've talked about this a lot. I talk about this with everybody that I'm close with. Like the goal should be that we're always changing and evolving and growing. So it's like my promise to myself and fans is just like, you will get the most honest and authentic version of me whenever I'm making music. So it's like the records are just timestamps of where that's at.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, that shit was real to me, bro. I was running around the mountains. I was growing weed. You know, in the spring and summer, I took care of flowers at that big outdoor wedding venue up there. Like I was outside and barefoot like all the time, bro.
Yeah.
You know, that's really who I was. Yeah. So like, a lot of those songs. And what's cool now is I play them and they still make me smile. A heavy one, dude, that I didn't realize, I hadn't listened to it in years. And last summer when me and Greg were on tour, there's a song called Life Goes On. And Chloe sang on it when she was like 8, you know. Mm-hmm. But Greg, we were talking about the 10-year anniversary tour, all of the things we're going to do. He's like, let's listen to the record. I was like, I really don't want to row.
Are you guys like driving between venues kind of thing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we had like a 5-hour drive that day. Uh-huh. He's like, well, you know, might as well. Well, we put it on, dude, and Life Goes On comes on. And I'm listening to the words. And I start tearing up. I'm realizing like, oh, this song, I was saying what I was going to do.
Ooh, I just got goosebumps. Bro, it's like a time capsule to you
every time I talk about it, it tears me up. It was my manifesto. I was like, this is what Satsang is. This is what I'm going to do with this music. This is the purpose of this music. This is what it's going to do for people. And I'm like in the driving, having this whole experience. And I'm like, I like look over like in my head, like, dude, I wonder if Craig's listening to this. And I look over at him, dude, and he's like tearing up too. And he's like, you fucking did it, bro. Fuck. So yeah, I guess it is worth celebrating. I did exactly what I said I was going to do, but I didn't even remember that song as that. I remember that being my favorite song on the record, but I wasn't like, I didn't remember me being like, this is what I'm going to do.
Wow.
And that's what the whole song is.
Yeah. And 10 years from now, I'm going to listen to this and be like, see?
Yeah. Yeah. It's wild, dude.
What was that feeling like? So like when you're tearing up listening to that, what's like the emotion of that?
I just, bro, I think at the core of my whole thing, that's like a huge thing that I'm unpacking more and more as I get older and older is like, I just really genuinely didn't believe I was going to be shit, bro. So there were no indicators around me.
The survey said
the favor was going to find me. You know, and in that, I'm like unpacking a lot of that story. So like, I think the emotion is like, I just am like staring at myself like, holy shit, dude. Against all odds, with every excuse in the world not to, did it. You know, you made a way for yourself. Like that was all I ever wanted was like, I just want to do this shit my way. I don't want to go fucking lay shingles, bro. I don't want to pour concrete. I respect to people that do that are passionate about it or that have to pay their bills. That wasn't it for me, bro. That was what every white boy I knew growing up, that was what they ended up doing. It was like some blue collar shit. And I was like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, that's not what I want to do.
One of my favorite things that keeps on popping up is that there tends to be a character trait, and it's like this weird paradox with some of the most successful people in the world, that they have this interesting combination of believing that they are destined for greatness and also having a crippling insecurity that they cannot achieve the things that they are setting out to achieve.
That's his,
And it's this really weird thing because in order to shoot for the moon and in order to like take a chance on some of the things that you have to in order to be the very best at your craft, you kind of have to have that delirious, like, oh no, I know that I'm destined for something great. Like I've got to do this thing. But to also have the insecurity on the other side of that, I think you stay busy and it's like, I'm going to work so hard to make sure that I don't fail, that I don't fuck this up, that I don't blah, blah, blah. And I think that that's why you see a lot of very successful people tend to have a lot of like very compensatory behaviors going on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like the richest people that you know have really a lot of difficulty around like scarcity mindset with money.
Yep.
The most famous people have biggest, like, I don't feel like I'm good enough kind of problems. Right. But I'm curious, when you're writing that record and you're looking at it going like, I want to do something big. Do you believe at that time that you're writing it, that you can actually do it? Or what's your sense of that?
Yeah, I guess my version of that is just, I've always knew I was different and that I heard music different and that it was way more important to me than it was to everybody else.
It's like that meme where it's like, oh yeah, what do you like to do for fun? Oh, listen to music. It's like, yeah, but not like that.
Yeah. No, I just remember, you know, riding around smoking weed with the boys. That was pretty much what we did in high school.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I just remember listening to shit and I would hear, you know, a chunk, you know, 4 bars. And I'd be like, you hear that, motherfucker? And everyone would be like, what? Like, run that back. You know, and everyone would be like, yeah, no, it's cool. I'm like, dude. You know, like
it's the coolest.
I know, but that was it for me. I was just like, I'm not like you guys. And I think the thing that's funny when I think about the actual making of the story of you was that, because I had written a full, like, I think there was 15 songs on it, but when it was just me and David, that mandolin player, yeah, we had made a little thing that was just the two of us, like in a really nice studio, pretty much live takes of everything.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew I wanted a drummer and I knew I wanted to make like a real band. So making that was, I mean, I was just like, okay, let's pick 10 songs. I think there's 10 songs on it. I was like, let's pick my favorite 10 songs that I've written in the last year or two.
Mm.
I just needed something done because I had like just met Brian and Matt.
Yeah.
So it was just like, okay, I have to have a proof of concept because, okay, I kind of have a manager. It sounds like this guy's interested. We need an agent. And without a decent record, like none of that happens.
Yeah.
You know, like I need a proof of concept here. So people are like, oh, this is what they'll sound like live, you know, roughly.
Interesting.
So I wasn't really like, oh, this is going to change the game, dude. Like that didn't actually happen to me. I had a few feelings of that on Pyramids just because I got to do some cool collabs with artists that I really like. But the one album that I made where I really felt that, nothing happened.
Right.
When I made Culture, I was like, this is the dopest shit ever. We're about to it's game over after this.
Yeah. Interesting.
So yeah, when I made The Story of You, it was fully just like a utilitarian, like, this is step 3. You know, like step 1, I got the guys, you know. Yeah. So it was
just got to keep it rolling.
It was just on the to-do list.
What about when you're writing? What about when you were writing Life Goes On and you're saying like, this is my manifesto. This is what I'm going to do. Writing that song specifically, not even on like people are going to love this song. This is going to make me pop, but like the lyrics in it when you're saying like, this is my manifesto for what I'm going to do. When you're writing that manifesto, is this like is the feeling like, oh damn, I hope this happens? Or is this I know that this is going to happen. It's just that I'm at point A right now and point F is where this thing is that I'm writing about.
No, you know, I have to shout out Tubby Love. Like as I unpack The Story of You and the story of you, there's like certain people that are so pivotal to that belief, to me believing that when I was writing it. You know, I didn't know, man. I was like, I feel like I'm good at this. I feel like I write dope shit. I got good taste.
Yeah.
And I feel like I write some pretty cool bars. It was Tubby Love. You know, we went to Hawaii and played, and Trevor kind of gave me a nod. Tubby gave me a nod, but it was really the festival we played in Hawaii. Tubby was in like 7 of the 9 bands playing. You know, he was that guy at the festival.
Damn.
But I brought him to Montana to do a few shows with us. And after the first show that next morning, he was like dead silent. Like I thought he was mad or something. But it was like me, my mandolin player, Summer, someone else. But he just doesn't really say anything. And then he was like, last minute was like, hey, why don't you guys all ride together? I want to ride from Bozeman to Billings with Drew. Bro, he gets in the car and he shuts the door. And he's like, you need a drummer and a bass player, dude, because your songs are super dope, but like this isn't the format for you and the mandolin player. Like that shit isn't going to work. You need a drummer and a bass player and your thing is going to be dope.
Wow.
And at that point, I still, like Tubby is one of the greatest music, like not that many people know about him. That's one of the dopest musicians of all time, bro. One of the most talented human beings I've ever met. So when he said that shit to me, I was like, are you serious? Like, he's like, yeah, like really dope songs, dude. And it really, man, I was just like, if I like Tubby this much, like I like his music this much, and he thinks my shit's dope, I should probably think my shit's dope too. You know what I mean?
Right.
But really, man, turn that into a clip. Tubby, bro, I wouldn't be here without you, bro. You were the one that taught me to believe in myself. Like, he was at such a different level than me.
Yeah.
As a musician and a singer and a writer. And so for that dude to be like, to tell me that my stuff was good, changed everything.
Damn. I think I've been thinking about this a lot lately too with the start of the podcast. We're doing a rebrand that I announced in my last solo podcast, but I've started to get excited again about like the start of something new, kind of like what you're talking about with this new chapter. But it made me think about when I first started this thing. I took a photo like sitting on top of this table, and it was before we had released anything. We had like all 5 episodes. Yours was one of them. I was just like, man, we've got some heaters ready. This project is going to be cool. It's going to be like the thing that I'm the most excited about in my life. But I was like, this is kind of the coolest moment because I've got all of the excitement without any of the analytics. Yeah. There's no views. There's no managers. There's no sponsors. There's nothing going on here. Like it is purely love of the game right here. And I'm curious what that transition was like for you when you go from, I'm this dude that loves music. I feel like I'm special. I feel like I've got this thing that sets me apart. How does that transition happen when you actually like start to do the dang thing?
It was hard. You know, it's funny. This thing I keep coming back to too, as I think about this story. It was like right when we toured heavy, bro, playing for nobody. You know, we got an agent and he just started booking shit.
Okay.
So we were like, you know, playing small clubs for nobody. No one knew who we were. So we were just on tour kind of indefinitely playing for nobody.
Damn.
And I remember Summer's dad, Tom, was like, I was in between tours and we were at a barbecue and he was just like, look, man, like I know this is hard right now, but like, these are the good old days, bro. Like, this thing's going to get bigger and it'll get more comfortable. There will be fans, there will be all of that. But the parts you're going to look back on and kind of laugh at and smile about, like all of your best stories are going to come from this era. And I remember I kind of believed him, you know, because I fast forwarded and was like, okay, let's envision we have a tour bus, you know, selling hundreds of tickets a night. And I think back, dude, some of those drives with Keller, like, they're just like the hardest I've ever laughed in my life on these delirious 16-hour fucking sends, you know, with Carl always sleeping in the back and just Keller up front with me, dude. And us just losing our minds, trapped in this little moving pillbox, dude. You know? Like, and he was right, you know, like some of the craziest shit ever. I was just hanging out with my friends Mo and Kirsten, you know. Mm. And the second night, she's like, man, you have a lot of really wild stories. And when she said it to me, I was like, I was just like, thank you so much. Like, you know, like, and then I started thinking, like, that's all I ever really wanted, bro. I was so drawn to the unorthodox path because of that.
Yeah.
I was like, I just want some wild, like, you could say anything and it'll bring up some random shit that happened to me traveling because I've been doing it for 12 years.
Well, even before you got started with touring and stuff, I remember you saying like MC culture and like Malcolm X and all of that kind of stuff too, was like, it was all about it. Mm-hmm. So like, was traveling always part of that? Did touring scratch that itch at the beginning?
Yeah. I mean, you know, growing up, I was just like, I loved music so much, all of it, you know, all of it. And I just couldn't really pick an identity. I felt kind of like a bastard all the time because I loved hip hop so much, but I was like, I'm not trying to wear baggy jeans and like dress like these people. I'm not these dudes.
Yeah.
And same thing like with punk rockers. I was like, I love this shit, but like, I'm not about to start wearing torn up flannels and doing stupid shit to my hair.
Right.
You know, like, so I just always kind of felt weird. But I remember the first time I went to a String Cheese Incident show, I was like, oh, this is like the Grateful Dead counterculture. I was wondering what happened to these people. It was alive and well, you know? So I started selling acid and weed and traveling around, going to shows. The shows were great, cool band. But like, for me, it was really the like being 15 to 17 years old and bopping around the country with everybody and everybody's taking LSD. And that leads to some wild stories.
Oh, so you're going almost like Deadhead kind of style where you're like traveling with these guys in like
a couple years.
Damn.
Yeah. And not just, you know, not full time. But I mean, I would say we probably went and saw whether it was them, Yonder Mountain String Band, Keller Williams, like that jam band scene was so active in the early 2000s. Mm-hmm. I mean, we were going, you know, and it happened all the time. Like, okay, let's go to these 2 Yonder shows in Kansas. Hey guys, Panic's playing, you know, 8 hours away tomorrow. Should we catch that too? And then, you know, and then you fuck around, you're gone for 2 weeks. Yeah, you're just tripping the whole time. It's just, you know, absurd things, you know, you put a bunch of young people together and feed them LSD and alcohol and whatever else, and they're like bopping in and out of hotels and, you know, like just wild, goofy shit, you know? Yeah, my life is, I have a really cool photo album in my brain
for sure.
From like super, super gangster shit nobody could see to just the most absurd, hilarious, you know, hotel psychedelia.
Yeah.
You know, like, and everywhere in between.
Man. I feel like one of the things that I like hearing about your story the most when we're like chatting about shit is that it doesn't seem like that confidence that you were different ever really like got in the way with anything. It seems like you were down to do whatever the fuck you wanted to do, right? Whether it was like doing the gangster culture shit, whether it was going and doing the psychedelics, whether it's doing like the Americana thing, the dirtbagging, the whatever. And with every layer of that, you've got all of the stereotypical, like your teachers are going to tell you you're never going to make it. And then your girlfriend's parents, and then like all of the layers of all of that shit. And I'm curious for you, like, how the hell has none of those like hit you to the point where it's like, okay, you're right, I'm going to chill a little bit.
Dude, I think I'm missing a piece of my brain.
Might be all the psychedelics, brother.
Perhaps, yeah, right. But really, really young, you know, like I think about, you know, when they did the like brain study on Alex Honnold, and they're like, oh, his amygdala doesn't fire, so like he's not feeling fear when he's climbing these rock faces. Bro, being abused as a child, teachers saying shit to me, none of it ever came in. Like most kids that get abused are like, there's something inherently wrong with me. That's why I'm being, not a fucking drop of it, bud. This motherfucker's a psycho and I got to survive it. I remember when I was being asked to leave school, my principal, Bruce Hookey, you know, I'm sitting in this chair. He's standing up and giving me this lecture about the real world. And I'm like, this motherfucker's never even done LSD. And you're telling me about the human experience? You've never ridden a motorcycle or done LSD? No. You know what I mean? Like, I just have always had this, no, you can't tell me shit. Like, and not in a bad way or like I know everything way. I just am real good at reading the source. So if you're, for instance, like my dad and, you know, an alcoholic, abusive, degenerate, gambling shithead, like nothing you say has merit to me because I can see you, bro.
Right. Yeah.
If you're a super straight-laced dude that lives at a country club and play, that's not my vibe. I'm not going where you live or where you are.
Right.
I don't need advice from you because I'm not trying to get where you are. Now, you know, you mean like some weird sage type dude that's been to 17 countries and, you know, has a hot girlfriend. When I was 15, I listened to that guy because I'm like, yeah, that's kind of the thing I'm shooting at.
Right.
So I just wasn't going to let anybody in. Surely not nobody's parents or like, unless you were at a place that I was trying to go, bro, I don't give a fuck what you have to say.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, for sure.
I've just always had that. And it's why I was drawn to punk rock and hip hop. Cause it's like, it's not fuck everybody. It's just like, I'm not trying to hear shit from you if I'm not going that way. Yeah. And I'm not going to tell you what to do. Just, you know, stay off my shit, bro. I'm not over here telling you know what you should do, Mr. Hooky. You should take 2 hits of LSD and go to the lake. You know, like I'm not. Right, I'm not trying to I'm not trying to fuck your thing up, dude.
For sure.
You know,
for sure. I think that one of the things that might be like one of the things that might not be understood about that story, just hearing that version of it too, though, is like how much self-education that you did. It wasn't that you weren't listening to anybody. Yeah. Right. It was that you were very selective about what you wanted to know and then like really dove into it. So
that's a good point.
What were the things that you dove into over the course of that? Like, cause I mean, you've had a hell of a fucking arc, dude. Like, you have sampled from all of the craziest literal corners of the world. So like, what does that piece look like as you're searching for who is worth listening to?
Hunter S. Thompson, which was probably not a good one to latch on to. I just loved him. I just adored him. I thought he was, to me, Hunter represented, you could be absurdly ridiculous and still be a cultural hero and important.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be that out of pocket, but I was like, well, if that's the line, you know, then I'm going to be fine.
We got some wiggle room.
Yeah. And then, yeah, man, the Panthers were so interesting to me, mainly in the way of everything is stacked against us. And the cultural norm at that time, you know, was yelling at the government and saying, fix this. You need to do this. You need to do this. And the Black Panthers were like, man, fuck everybody. We'll do it. You go to law school. Y'all are good at cooking. I'm good at this. I'm good at, like, we'll handle this shit. Mm-hmm. And I just thought that was so cool. And I'm very anti-socialism, but it works if you're doing it in a neighborhood. And they did it. We're like, no, we don't need police anymore. We'll police our own neighborhoods. We'll run our own free school program where we teach real world history. We'll make sure all these kids are fed. Like, I just thought that was such a wild concept, that radical accountability of your environment. I thought that was so rad. You know, and then Alan Watts and Aldous Huxley and, you know, all those wildcats, you know, all the like greats, Tim Leary, like all those weird psychedelic thinkers were, yeah. Cause to me, I was like Timothy Leary was a Harvard professor. So it's like, what did he find out that made him grow out his hair and stop wearing shoes and say, I don't want to be a Harvard professor anymore. I want to do this other thing. I want to turn people on. You know, like that was really crazy to me when I was young.
Right.
Ram Dass too, you know, he's like this great scholar and he goes to India and has changed the entire trajectory of his life to seeking a spiritual purpose and not an earthly one.
Right.
So like, you know, whether it's Hunter S. Thompson being like, I'm going all in on the psychotic drug thing, or I'm going all in on spirituality, like that shit, or Hell's Angels, you know, like that thing was really interesting to me. That complete shunning of normal society to dive into whatever it was that lit a fire under your ass.
Yeah. How did, because that's a wide composition of like sources that you're pulling from. How did the combination of all those start to like shape your worldview as you continue to go down that road?
I think it was music, you know? I think it was me giving myself permission to like, you don't just have to be a punk, dude.
Like you've got like examples.
Yeah, like I quit caring about being cool. When I was like 16, 17. I started defining what that meant to me.
That early you started?
Yeah, so like once I got a hot girlfriend, then I didn't care no more because I was like, well, she thinks I'm cool. You know, that was really, I think that's really the only reason 15, 16-year-olds are concerned about being cool.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck what these other dorks are saying. All those dudes have shit jobs now, and I told them they would. Yeah. In smoking circles back in the day, it was like, y'all are going to end up on some lame shit, dude. Not me.
Because they're trying to be cool.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So to me, it was like, yeah, no, I listened to Rancid on the way to school this morning and then burn one and listen to Marvin Gaye on the way home. Like that shit was cool to me. Like knowing about jazz, knowing like, I just wanted to know shit. And that being smart was cool. I feel like in the early 2000s, a lot of stoner culture was this like half-baked. I hated that.
Yeah.
I hated that was the representation of people that use cannabis because I was like, I know some bad motherfuckers that be smoking weed. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
For sure.
And we have some sick conversations. So yeah, I just kind of started etching out like I can be all of it.
Right. That's interesting to me because I've talked about it on here before, but one of the biggest tipping points for me, and I didn't know it at the time, but it was realizing that there were a ton of people who had done very different shit in life that I looked up to all for like the same reason, but I couldn't figure out what it was. Like I think it was when I started my business. So I think I was like 22 at the time. And I kept getting around these people every once in a while that were like, had this thing about them where I was like, I leave hanging out with you and I feel like the thing that I'm trying to do is possible and that all I have to do is do it. And I would get that from people who are yoga instructors and then musicians and then business owners, then brand builders. And like, I couldn't figure out, I'm like, well, I know I'm not that thing. I'm not going to be a yoga instructor. I know I'm not going to be anything, but like, how the fuck do I get whatever that thing is? And it sounds like, I mean, kind of around a similar time for me, like having that permission to be like, it doesn't matter what your thing is, but the commonality between all these people is they found one thing and then they moved everything else in their life aside so that they could pursue that. And it sounds like that's kind of what you got by being like, well, if Alan Watts and Hunter S. Thompson can kind of arrive at the same, like I did exactly what I was supposed to do. Yeah. What was that for you? Like, did you find what that thing was at that
passion point? And really, bro, the heart of all of it, I can do my own thing. I don't have to do what anybody else did. No one done what Timothy Leary did. Dude, he did these studies with super smart students that were stuck on projects and give them LSD. That's how we ended up with the structure of figuring out what the structure of DNA looks like. The DNA ladder was from that study. So it's like, I'm sure a lot of people had a lot to say when he was like, no, I'm going to leave Harvard and I want to go kind of run this zone where people can come through like intellectuals and I want to give intellectuals psychedelics and talk to them. People were like, and then what? I don't know. You know, like, yeah. So I think the thing is that there's just kind of this shunning of there being one way. And I think when you grow up in the school system that for me, I saw it, bro, like a conveyor belt. It scared the shit out of me. You know, finish high school, go to college, meet a girl in college, get married, get a job because now you're married and you got to get a house. And then now you have kids, so you can't leave that job. You know, you don't got time to be rolling dice. You got kids now. I just wasn't interested. I wasn't interested. And I knew it really early. So I just spent a lot of my time also just kind of in my own head of just like, well, I don't have to explain what I'm on. I'm not on this. I know that. I don't know all the ins and outs quite yet, but I'm not. It ain't this.
Yeah. God, that's cool, man. It's interesting how people arrive at that thing too.
Yeah. And I looked up to some knuckleheads too, though, you know, because I didn't really have any mentors or like, surely no reliable father figure, you know? So like, you know, this dude, Nate, you know, when I was going to jam band shows, you know, Nate was like kind of a real popular dude in the scene. People really liked him, you know, so I let him stay at my apartment. He taught me how to sell acid. And I just thought he was the coolest, you know, and I'm like picking this dude's brain. I look back at it now. I'm like, dude, he was like 26 and like selling acid and hanging out with 18-year-olds.
Right.
Not really that cool, you know, but you know, I would just take little bits and pieces, you know, because I think that was his pursuit too. Was he's like, I just don't want to do the thing everyone else is doing. And it was just kind of biding time where I figured out eventually that was kind of what Nepal did, was like,
interesting.
All right, bro, take all of this energy of like, not this, not this, not this, and say this.
Yeah. Talk to me about that. I mean, clearly I've heard it before, but for the people that haven't, how did you end up in Nepal in the first place? And then like, what was the like aha moment while you were there?
Well, so I went, I got offered a job because I was just working at Sylvan Peak at the gear shop, not making good money. Like I'm making barely enough to pay rent and eat.
And you're like fucking around, like writing a little bit of music.
I was playing a lot actually, not out.
Right.
But I was writing a lot and like getting pretty heavy back into it. Because when I first got sober, there was like this weird thing where playing music felt weird.
Okay.
Didn't feel like it had ever felt, because I had never really done it sober.
Right.
And then I got offered this job. It was like Chloe's best kindergarten friend's dad did seismographic surveying in Utah, looking for natural gas pockets.
Mm-hmm.
And it was something crazy, you know, I think it was like $250 cash a day. And he went and was like, yeah, we could use you for 2 months, but there's no days off, but we'll put you up in this house. And I mean, $1,400 a week. That was like,
when you're working in the ski shop, I was like, hell yeah.
Bro, I would make $600 every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So I was like making this money. And I remember having a conversation with my father-in-law at the time. And I had 3 different vehicles from the year 1988. I had an 88 GMC Jimmy, or 4, 2 88 Subaru GLs and an 88 Pathfinder. And he's like, if you know, you should save this money, and when you get home, you get a reliable vehicle. I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Well, my first shift back at the shop, this older guy, Pete Shelley, who I think about every day, I need to just go up to Red Lodge and see him, but he'd been guiding trips to Nepal for like 20 years. And he starts telling me about this trip that he's wanted to do. Because most people go and they'll go up one of the valleys to see Everest Base Camp and then down. They'll go up one of the valleys to see Gokyo and then come down. Mm-hmm. He wanted to do this circle and go over all 3 passes, like a whole circle of the Khumbu, the Everest region. He's like, I just can't find anyone that would do it. I was like, well, if I was going to do it, how much would it cost? You know, and he was like, all in, you know, and told me the price. And I was like, that's almost exactly how much I have saved right now from that job. I was like, I'll go. Zero thought. I'll go. Looked at flights that day. I bought my flight the next day.
Wow.
Yeah. It was just like, so that would have been like December or something when he was like, we'll leave April 1st.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. You know, so I just went. I was like, I knew I was
so sick.
I had been waiting for a thing. So I was like, later in life, am I going to be like, man, I really liked that Cavalier that I got, you know, or like, is this an opportunity to completely alter my life story? And it just felt that way from the rip.
Right. It didn't feel like, oh, this will be a fun trip. I go on, then I'm going to come back. Like your spidey sense was tingling a bit.
I was like, there's something. I was like so steeped in Eastern philosophy and shit too. I was like, no, this is going to be one of them ones, you know?
Yeah.
So I kind of knew. And then, halfway through the trip, it just kind of hit me. I was like up on Gokyo Pass and kind of looking down and just being like, you know, what's the plan when we get home, dude? This is the halfway mark. Like, what are you going to do? And it was just like clear as day. It's like, it's music, dude. It's always been music. You spent your entire time growing up telling everyone, like, I don't need this shit. I'm going to play music.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, well, it's time to do it. It's like, all right. We came home and, you know, I texted David right when I got home. He was the only person I was like, he would probably do a band.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we just got busy, dude.
Huh. Do you think, I'm curious if there's an importance of like the amount of time that is spent between when you realize and you have that aha moment, like I have to do this. And then when you actually take action on it, because that motivation is very fleeting. And I'm curious for you, if you think that like you getting back right away and jumping on it was key, or if it was just like you could have waited as long as you wanted to get on this thing.
No, I think it was important that I get busy because I hadn't been aimed at anything for a while, bro. I mean, I was aimed at like the perfect line in the winter. I had my eyes on a couple like 511Ds, which like for the summer was like, man, if I could climb 511D by the end of summer, that'd be pretty huge. But that was about where my goals ended.
Gotcha. Just cool climbing shit.
Climbing shit, skiing shit, bro.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it was pretty huge that I was like, no, we're gonna call David. I have these 5 songs or whatever it was, and we just started booking bar gigs. You know, going and playing 3-hour bar gigs, 3 45-minute sets, mostly covers. You know, but just to fucking play. So we looked busy.
Dang. So being where you're at now, and you've had this like this vision, this thing. When you look at, it was cool when you said like it's like almost like finishing a journal, right? There's something that's like kind of like it's like finishing a book or a TV show or something. It's like, well, fuck, now what? It's like, well, I know I have to keep living, but like this has kind of been my thing for a while.
Yeah.
Being like towards the end of that, you know, that's obviously like the start of journal entry. Being towards the end of it now, what does that feel like? Like, what does it feel like talking about? Because you're in a unique position where you like people are interested in the story, so you talk about it a lot. But feeling like it's like a chapter that's closing, does it change how you talk about it or like how you reflect on it instead of just like?
No, I think it's given me more reverence for it. I think I kind of would have brushed it off before. Just been like, yeah, man, I've been busy. Because I've been unpacking all of the things around it. The music is at the center of it, but it's all of the things around it. It's old relationships, you know, my old marriage, a lot of friendships that I thought I would have forever that don't exist no more. It's been a wild thing. Like people I was certain would be in my life forever are not in my life anymore. And I knew going in it would be like that because I knew people were going to fall off. I knew people would quit. And I knew I wouldn't. Like I knew I was in for it.
Yeah.
It's a different thing to know you're in for it and be in it. And then to be like removed from it and look back and be like, whoa, bro. There's almost, with the exception of me and Matthew, it's been a nonstop rotating cast. Matthew has been the only constant. And he's been with me through everything. You know, like musicians, friendships, relationships with promoters. Yeah, my marriage, bro. Like everything has changed. Matt's the only one that's still here with me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
It's a trip.
Yeah. What are some of the things that that hit the hardest when you look back on some of that stuff?
That I really thought that the industry, not the industry as an entity, but doing this work, I thought it wouldn't change me.
Was that part of like the anti-culture thing that it's like, oh, it changes everybody else, but me, I know what I'm doing?
Yeah.
How did it change you?
I think I was very naive to the effects of touring so hard and trying to have a normal life while touring that hard. It skews your sense of value and kind of blurs reality a little bit. Like there starts to be 2 different worlds. It's like, well, tour is a completely different thing. So it doesn't really matter, you know? And then when you mix in drugs and alcohol with that, you know, I was sober for 10 years. And then there's a year of my story that I wasn't. And it just didn't take long for me to fuck a bunch of stuff up. And a thing that I just kind of went through is like I was telling you, bro, I still deal with the grief of a lot of those decisions. And I think I'm at the end of that grief. Like I heard Kevin Gates say, you can only be hurt by what you entertain. So like, I'm not entertaining that anymore. I understand it now. It's like, the cycle was, I didn't love myself. So I would medicate and do chaotic things because that's in my nature to kick the beehive. And then I would see the way that affected other people, and it would make me angry at myself, which would make me fall less out of love with myself, which would make me do more dumb shit. And it was just this cycle, and it just hit me like a week ago, bro, like a ton of bricks. Like, oh, I didn't love myself.
Wow.
I lost my love for myself and my respect for myself and my loyalty to myself and my boundaries. So it's like, yeah, I hurt other people and I have to own that, but I also have to forgive myself and give myself grace, because how sad that I was in a place that I couldn't love myself, because now I love myself wholly. And I can look at myself now and be like, well, the only thing I can do to further distance myself from the mistakes I made is to act right. And for me to act right, I have to love myself. So it's this like continual process for me of like, how can I best love myself? Because when I'm in good relationship with myself, I'm not going to relapse. I'm not going to make any bad decisions. Right. I won't do anything that hurts anybody.
Because you're not willing to hurt yourself.
Because I'm not willing to hurt myself. Exactly. So now I'm like, that's the biggest thing I feel like I'm closing in this chapter. And now I'm excited to go like actually play these songs and like, I'm not just giving reverence and paying respects to this album. So like everything I've learned along the way, which has been a shit ton, even up to 7 days ago where I'm driving in a car and I'm like, oh shit. It's because you hated yourself, bro. That's why you're acting wild. Because you don't love yourself. You lost all respect for yourself. So it's like, now I can look at the person that hurt my ex-wife. I can look at the person that hurt people that used to work with me, with my words and my actions, and be like, okay, but that's not who I am now. So like I said, the best way for me to distance myself from that person is to continue to change and evolve and love myself more and more.
I think it's almost a way to honor that person too, where it's like, yes, you were fucking up, but you were doing what I would hope is like the best that you could given all of the scenario and all the circumstances in that situation. And so in order to like honor everything that we've gone through and all of the things that we fucked up, all the people that we've hurt, because like I'm very much relate to what you're saying is, in order to honor all of those things, all of those people, me showing up as my best self, learning to love myself so that I can love other people better, give a better thing to the world. Like that is the only way that you can do any of that or any of those people justice at this point. You can't change any of that other stuff. But the one thing that you can do is be like, but it's going to mean something that I went through all of that. It's not going to be that this is
not in vain.
Yeah, it's not in vain. And this isn't a cycle that's like, I'm willing to let continue at this point.
Well, one thing I really love and admire about you, when we were at my house a while back and you were talking about going through that thing of yours and you making the decision on the spot, like, nope, we're not running. I'm feeling all of this now. I didn't do that. I microdosed it, and then it macrodosed me. So it's like, it fucking got me, bro. So I think the thing that's important, for people, at least what I've learned, and it only took me 4 decades, is like, to really, for me, it was not feeling how I felt about what I did. It was being realistic about the pain that I caused others, the pain that I caused my ex-wife by being out of alignment with myself, the potential pain it would have caused my son if he was older of being out of alignment with myself. And being like, okay, so the thing it's not, okay, I'm never going to do that again. It's like, no, I will not allow myself to get out of alignment with myself again.
Right.
Because the consequences of that can spread far and wide, and they're yucky.
Yeah, we got to treat the cause, not the symptoms.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's giving myself that grace. And then a lot of it too, like I told you, is like owning up to that.
Mm-hmm.
Was like, going to people and saying like, hey, I just want you to know I take full ownership of how I fell short, what that was like for you. I can't take it back, so I don't know what to do other than tell you, even though you're not in my life anymore, I promise I'll be doing my best.
Yeah.
I promise I'll be trying really, really hard to stay in alignment with myself.
Yeah.
So I don't hurt anyone the way I hurt you.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry. Because if you don't do that, bro, I feel like it's always just this thing crouching in the corner.
How has that changed your perspective on dealing with things in the moment, and especially like feeling things in the moment versus keeping it pushing and just like you said, like microdosing that thing?
I think a big thing is pausing to see if I can trust my feelings or not. Cause I'm an emotional person. I'm sensitive. So I think a lot of times it's, being honest with myself in the moment. Like, is this feeling real or is it perceived? Right? Am I perceiving something as something else, which is making me feel something, or am I feeling something because that's what it is?
Yeah.
And man, that pause has been so huge for me of like, yep, I feel like this tonight, probably ain't going to feel that way tomorrow. And not acting when I feel emotional,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's been the biggest thing that I've learned is like, don't send the text, don't send the email, don't make the phone, don't do any of that. Just be.
Yeah.
If in 24 hours you still feel that heavy about it, then start making an action plan. But allow myself to pause because it's just like, yeah, man, my emotions have tricked me a lot.
Well, that's interesting for me to hear because it seems that if you run that program long enough, that does turn into shoving something deeper and deeper into the closet. Cause it's like, well, if 24 hours I feel this way about it, then what about tomorrow? What about the next day? And it's something that I did because, similar kind of thing. I'm like, yeah, but if I just like take this one on the chin and decide to, like behave myself, not make a big deal out of it, let somebody speak their mind, whatever. And then by tomorrow, I'm just going to be chilling anyways. So like, instead of having another blow up moment tomorrow and everybody being pissed at each other and fighting again, if I just keep it pushing, I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll just like add that weight to the backpack. I'll keep carrying it. And then, that sort of thing. So for me, what, that instance that you were talking about, it was the first time ever that I was like, you know what, instead of putting this shit in the backpack and carrying it for whoever knows how long, I'm just going to like front load it right now and deal with it. And I think it's one of the best things I've ever done. And it's like, it's changed how I've dealt with hard conversations and hard moments since then. Cause I used to be a microdoser myself.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering for you, if it's changed your outlook on that at all.
Yeah, man. I've always been so hard on myself. That I think that whole process has been really hard for me. Because I can also take something really small that's not a huge deal and absolutely wreck myself about it.
Oh.
So for me, I guess that's why I point to the pause, because it's important for me sometimes because I'm so sensitive to be like, are these feelings perceived or are they real?
Yeah. Okay. So, so then at that point, everything's safer to just be like, fuck it.
Man, that pause has taught me a lot because, bro, whether it's anger, sadness, remorse, whatever, it's not that I'm running from it. I'm actually saying, okay, I'll sit with you right now and let's look at this from all angles here. Because maybe he said that thing on his way out because this is going on, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like that thing I saw that you had reposted. It's this aerial clip of a bunch of people walking through New York City, right? And it's like, just had a baby, just found out he's terminally ill. Yeah. That's a big piece for me.
Yeah.
It is like, you might just be being an asshole because you've just found out your son has 6 months to live.
Can't take anything personally.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm responsible for me. And I also want to make sure that I'm not needlessly emotional because then Greg put this context on it for me one time. He's like, emotions are like getting a dog wet. Like, it's all right to be a wet dog. It ain't all right to go in a room and shake all over the fucking place though. So I think about that analogy a lot where I'm like, sometimes it's like going into coach and I'm like, all right, I just got to lock in right now for a couple hours. And then when I get home, I'll
shake around a little bit.
Yeah, it's my house. I'll shake it in here,
Yeah.
and sit with it, and sit with it. Cause for me, I just have to go through like, cause I would say the vast majority of emotions that I feel that are really, really heavy are self-hatred and, regret and remorse and wishing I could change things that I did. Not because I want a different outcome than I have right now, but just because I want a cleaner slate. And I wish I didn't think that I would ever be hurtful to anybody.
Yeah.
So it's like, I just want that off my record. And it's like, well, it doesn't come off, bro.
Yeah.
It's like the same thing. It's like, if you go to prison and it's like, well, dude, we're not going to like take a drug trafficking charge off your record. Just don't drug traffic anymore. But you're like, it stays on the record.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, but if you don't interact with the police, it doesn't matter that it's on your record.
Yeah.
So it's like, I just keep kind of using that thing too. It's like, well, then just don't get pulled over anymore. Don't be doing fucked up shit that gets you pulled over.
Yeah.
Because then no one even knows that you have a record.
So true.
So it's like,
yeah, start living in a way where that stuff's not going to come up anyways.
Yeah. So, and a big piece of that for me that I've just come to the conclusion of is me being kind to myself, because I'm not.
What does that look like for you?
Putting everything into context, because for me, it's easy to be like, you were angry and felt this type of way, which made you be unfaithful. And for me to be like, yep, that's real. You did that. But then to also be like, but who are you pulling notes from? Who is counseling you? Who's giving you advice? I'm like, bro, I hadn't had anybody. I've been raw dogging this shit since I fucking popped out.
Yeah.
Especially as a young man into adulthood. And I became an adult real young. I became an adult at 14, 15 years old. I didn't have the luxury of staying young. I had to get with it. And nobody showed me shit. So it's like taking ownership of it and being like, yes, I did shit wrong. But also it's okay. A lot of people, everyone does shit wrong. And a lot of people, I think I've told you this story, but I remember when I first started going to therapy, it was after the beginning dissolving stages of my marriage and me saying, here's what I did. And, owning all of the shit that I did, and her being like, do you want to know the good news? Like, what? She's like, you're not a narcissist or a psychopath, because if you were, none of these would bother you. So we're way ahead of schedule. And I'm like, okay, So it's like, if anything, I'm on the further end of that spectrum where it's like, okay, how do we look at the whole picture and be like, dude, for a guy from an abusive household with no concept of what a healthy family structure should look like, you did pretty good, bro. Mm-hmm. And like, yeah, you make mistakes. You're probably not done making mistakes, but let's not make huge ones.
Yeah.
And just, putting everything into context, because I used to give no context. It was like, you did this bad. Mm-hmm. You fuck. Rather than like, yeah, bro, with everything in context, and you don't know what you didn't know then what you know now.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, of course that's what you did. You didn't know no better.
How does that translate into the present moment? Because I think that one of the first steps I would imagine is looking back and being like giving yourself that grace and being like, man, yes, I fucked up, but I'm going to give myself grace here. I'm going to, do that sort of thing. But when you bring that into the present moment and it's like, but now I have the tools that I have now, how does going back and doing that reflection, like giving yourself that grace, how does that change how you act now and how you conduct yourself, I suppose?
I think it's going, okay, well, now we have the notes. Now you know that XYZ causes pain. So you can't do it again. Because, you don't got a daddy. You don't have a mentor that you're calling and checking in with. But you got your own notes, and your field notes say, if you drink, nothing good's happening.
So you've got more responsibility now.
Fuck yeah, because I know, bro. And it's, now it's not. I was 10 years removed from addiction. If anything, when that depression kicked in, I was like, I think I was just really sad and young and didn't have anything to do. And so I was just fucked up because I was bored. So I got, and you fuck around and find out. You're like, no, still love this shit,
Yeah.
But it's like, but now I got the notes. So it's like part of amends. Like amends don't mean shit. My apology to you doesn't mean shit if I go do the same thing that I apologize for. So it's like, yes, grace for the version of me in the past that didn't have the field notes, but honesty with the motherfucker that's standing right here with the field notes in his hand. No excuses now. You're gonna make mistakes that you don't have notes for, but no repeats. No repeats. You got the notes now, so you don't have an excuse. It doesn't matter if you don't got a dad or none of that bullshit, or you come from the cut. None of that shit matters because you got the notes now.
Right.
But am I gonna fuck up shit I don't have the notes on? For sure.
Dude, that's such an interesting thing to me, because it's like you hear all the time about giving yourself grace and like letting yourself off the hook and all of that, but you don't hear about the second part.
Yes,
which is but now you've got the responsibility, right? Because like you can give yourself the grace once, you can do all of that, but are you going to give yourself grace? Because now it's different. Now when you've got the field notes, if you make that same mistake, you can't turn back and be like, well, I didn't know. Yeah. I didn't know. No, you did know this time.
Bro, and for me, the root of self-love is, I hate to use the word pride because I don't mean it. I don't mean it in a prideful sense, but it's being able to look at yourself and be like, no, that's a good dude.
Yeah.
And you can't do that if you're repeating. You can't do that if you're hitting repeats, bro.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're being like, no, with the tools I have and the knowledge I have right now, no, bro, I'm acting right. I'm acting in my best way. Me and Brady were texting because I was texting him when I was kind of going through that thing. And he said, no more getting sad and pretending you don't have discernment. You have discernment. And that's what would happen to me. But I would get depressed and use drugs and alcohol, and I would pretend like I didn't have discernment. Or I would intentionally use drugs and alcohol to turn off my discernment.
Yeah.
You know, and be like, well, I don't know, fuck everything.
Yeah.
So it's like, no more of that, bro. You know? So, but yeah, I think that self-love piece, it comes from you stacking up days. It's like the same thing with sobriety for a lot of people. It's like the reason that first year mark is like such a huge deal is because for people that use drugs and alcohol every day, to go a year without using drugs and alcohol, that's fucking insane.
Yeah.
Like, bro, the hardest part for me when I went to treatment was I was like, I remember this, like the third day in detox of just being like, I'm not going to be able to stand there with a beer in my hand. That's like such a...
It's like a cultural, it's a societal
such a
comfort thing.
That is my number one accessory.
Yeah.
You know, like I always have that.
Yeah.
You know, so it's that thing too. It's like learning these new ways of, again, to me, the full circle of it is that shit was the trap for me. That's the same as getting the fucking banking job and going to the state university and marrying the five. It's the same shit. It's like, no, bro, what the most punk rock, badass, revolutionary, cool thing you could do is stray away from this thing everybody does to kill stress. You don't need that shit. That's that whack conveyor belt shit. And you're not on that. You're on some other shit. So yeah, we don't do that. Yeah, we're not drinking when we miss home. We're not, you know, fuck all that. We're not fucking chicks when we get lonely.
Yeah.
We're raw dogging that shit. We're going to journal. We're going to read. We're going to do push-ups. We're going to be a different motherfucker. Why do I like Fred Hampton? Because he was a different motherfucker. You know, he wasn't doing the shit these other people were doing. So it's like the punk rock core of me has to relate that to other things too. It's like, that's the most societally accepted means of coping with anything difficult. Fuck all that for me.
Yeah.
I don't want it.
Yeah. God, that's good. It's interesting to me that self-love piece really comes down to a lot of discipline. I feel like that's such an interesting thing because I think that the opposite of self-love is self-betrayal.
For sure.
And I think that the more that you know and the more self-work that you do, the more that you start to identify the places that you betrayed yourself in the past. But it's also like, it's a lot more embarrassing to step on a landmine when you know where the landmine's at.
For sure, bro. And it's this like, if you told me if you moved into a new place and you're telling me, wait till you see this condo, bro. I love it so much. I love this condo. And I came over and it was filthy.
Mm-hmm. I'm
like, well, yeah, I love it that much. Like that. I mean, straight up.
Right.
You love it, but you're not going to clean it.
Right.
So for me, like, I'm like, yeah, for me to say I love myself, that means I love myself enough to eat good food, to exercise, to be strong, to keep my brain healthy, to stay hydrated,
Yeah.
to let nobody with any malicious fuck shit anywhere near my energetic field.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, that's the other piece of this. I put malicious energy or dramatic people, that is in the same, you might as well be a mirror of cocaine. I can't let you over here. And it's no hard feelings from me. I just respectfully, you can't come over here, bro. You're going to fart in my elevator. You know what I mean? I'm trying to keep this elevator ass smelling free. And I see these people, there's even traits in certain people that I admire and that I love. But there's this piece of them that has this tendency towards toxicity or even drama.
Yeah.
I'm like, you just can't. I can't. Moving forward, bro, I won't have it anywhere near me or my, you know, my fiance. Like, I'm building this whole new thing and I'm going to curate it. And no fuck shit.
Yeah.
No fuck shit anywhere near me or my wife.
Yeah.
Or our kids.
Yeah. I think that's just, I mean, that's like being an alcoholic and hanging out in bars.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. And I think there's a lot of what's funny is you'll tolerate a lot of weird shit if you have a common interest with someone. Jiu-jitsu is a perfect microcosm of that. It's just a funnier one. There's a lot of people in that room that I would never be friends with, but we have this thing that ties us together.
Yeah.
Luckily, it's a healthy, cool thing. But yeah, I mean, drugs and alcohol, like that's what's so funny. Or like we've talked about something, like the culture at some of these kava bars, like the thing that ties these people together. But it's really just a string of fucking goofy dorks, bro, with a bunch of like unhealed emotional shit. So instead of dealing with it, they just drinking this shit all day. It's like, you might as well just drink alcohol.
For sure. Yeah.
I would just say, I'm not going to blow up his spot, but I was just saying that to a mutual friend of ours, you know, that uses like $40 some worth of kratom a day. I'm like, you might as well do heroin, bro. $40 worth of heroin. That's a fair amount of heroin. You could really take a vacation today.
Yeah.
For $40.
Yeah. Running from sun.
Yeah.
I was just going back through some of like the highlights in old books that I've read. And one of them was in, I don't remember if it was The Mastery of Love or The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, both banger books.
Really good books.
But in one of them, he was talking about when humans don't feel like they belong and they start feeling lonely, sad, blah, blah, blah. They go to a bar to drink it away and escape it. And then when you're there, you start to see other people who also are at the bar for the same reason. You start to bond with them. And eventually your circle becomes all of these people who feel lonely, are not happy with where they're at. And the thing that you're doing with them is escaping also.
Yeah.
So your entire culture on accident becomes baked in, where you've got this vice that you guys are using to escape with people who are also escape artists. And now for you to unwind all of that is brutal.
Yeah.
And that thing exists in a billion different forms. But I mean, to me, it's so important that the people that you're around, I mean, that one thing could change it. You meet one friend that's like, nah, dude, we're not going to the bar. Instead, like, I'm super into running and I know you're not into it. So like, we're just going to do a mile today, but come try this out with me.
Yep.
And then you know, it's like, I think that you can slowly, I think that that's the best way to get out of it, is like, if you can chip away with your circle for like, man, I don't know what it is about this guy that's got this energy thing, but I got to get around him more.
It's funny you say that, man, because what that was just making me think about is, I remember Carl said one time when we made All Right Now, in the little documentary of All Right Now, he said, you know, one of Drew's gifts, aside from being a good songwriter, he's really good at putting a room together. Like, he's really good at being like, that guy will vibe with this guy.
Yep.
So I've been really curating my own thing. Like, pretty much the only people I allow to have access to me play some role, some very positive role, you know, in me being a healthy version of myself. So it's like you and Brady, I have this depth with where we can talk about the actual real reality of whatever the thing was, because there's no guilt or shame involved when I talk to either of you. Having Brian in my life again, you know, this dude that is putting everything through this spiritually distilled lens of God, you know, and relating it to stories that I know well. That's been really huge for me. So it's like having these, like, okay, this dude's like, I literally tell people, like, Brian's my spiritual advisor.
Yeah.
You know, and then my friendships that I really value. And then there's friends of mine, you know, a huge thing for me right now too is getting to be of service, not just with the music, because I've always been of service with that. But, you know, there's a lot of these times, bro, when I was at my darkest hour, Brady was the dude that was with me. A lot of times not by choice. He just happened to fucking be there.
Physically be there, yeah.
And I think there is something of knowing the depth and selflessness of Brady's love for pretty much everyone he's close to, of being like, Brady can handle this version of me and not hate me. Brady will still love this version of myself. And I look back on it, bro, and it's the most Christ-like. I never had nobody love me like that. Super unconditional. Everybody that's ever loved me, pretty conditional, dude. That motherfucker. And I remember in Bali, you know, when I got really, really sick and was just like in the throes of that huge breakdown, I was like, I don't want something bad to happen to you, but I wish something would happen where I could be there for you. Like, so we could even up the board a little bit, you know?
Yeah, I need a couple wins in my column.
And he kind of laughed. It was like, don't put that on me. Was like, but someone else somebody else close to you will go somewhere and you'll get to be this thing for them. And it's happened, the last year.
Yeah.
I've gotten to be that for somebody. And it's funny because it's not that heavy when you love somebody. It's not that heavy to be there for somebody you love because I'm like, I fucking love you, bro.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to cry about it, you want to come over, you want to not come over, you want to not talk about it, like, I'm here for whatever.
Yeah.
I just want you to be good. And it's funny, and I don't want to speak for Brady, but for me, I was always like, man, this must just be a monstrous task to love me,
Yeah.
And then, getting to be that dude for someone really close to me that I really love. No, bro, I got so much room in my backpack.
Yeah.
What else you got?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things that is almost like a side benefit of going through really hard shit is it makes you uniquely qualified to help people out when it's your turn to be of service to somebody else.
Yeah. 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 In this case, so similarly, qualified, so uniquely qualified.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, that's just the cycle. And that to me too, I would have never, ever previously even put that on the board for me of like being able to say that, like, no, you're a really good friend, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Not friendly, but I'm a really good friend.
Yeah.
And it's because I understand bandwidth now. And I think, man, if you never listened to Kevin Gates talk, the motherfucker is just one-liner after one-liner.
Yeah.
He's a friend. He who is a friend to everybody is a friend to nobody. I don't have that amount of bandwidth. I'm not a fucking superhero. Mm-hmm. So if I'm trying to be everybody's, I could be polite and kind to everyone, but I can't. For my definition of what a friend is, I can't be friends with everybody. I could be friends with like 5, 6 people. If I want to be the kind of friend that I think of when I say, I'm your friend.
Yeah. That
means whatever. I got you.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what. So I can't give that to everybody. So I can't be everybody's friend.
For sure.
And I think a lot of people, like a lot of people have shared with my fiance, they're like, man, he's kind of standoffish. I'm like, no, bro, I'm just not recruiting. I'm good.
What did it take for you to get there?
I just don't care to be liked. I'm not worried about it.
Yeah.
Like if someone doesn't like my coaching style, if someone doesn't like my music, like that's okay. I'm good. Because I know I'm good at what I do and it's not going to be for everybody.
Yeah.
Because the results in what I do are self-evident. The boys that I train do dope shit.
Yeah.
The records that I put out are dope. So it's like, I trust that, that it's like, but also, I think Taylor Swift is trash. There's fucking probably 4 billion people that disagree with me.
Right.
Yeah. I don't like her.
Yeah.
but that ain't slowing T Swift down.
For
me
sure.
not liking T Swift doesn't change her reality at all. So you liking me, if you're not in my circle, I don't care. It doesn't affect.
I think that's actually like there's times where that comes off as like a very standoffish, like fuck the world thing. But I actually think that being intentional about your circle is one of the most loving things that you can do.
Boom.
Like choosing not to be liked by everybody and choosing not to use that energy that's supposed to be for your close circle to try to be friendly or friends with everybody. It's like the most loving thing that you can do is say, it doesn't seem like you guys are my people, but these ones that are, like, I have to save this.
It's like Brady's thing about instead of weeding the garden, it's like just pick what flowers you water.
Yeah.
I only got so much water. So it's like my son first, then my girl, and then everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to just be mindful of that water. And it's not personal. It's like, something might change, dude. Brady might become a monk or something and not want to talk to me no more. And in which case, I got some extra water. But like, probably not.
Yeah.
So I just I'm just got to be mindful of it. Because it is a thing for self-love to me too. And the other thing, fake relationships in the last 10 years, through this, through my G-list fame and like being kind of well-known in certain circles, I've become a part of circles like the whole Aubrey Marcus circle, man. Some of the goofiest, I'll say that shit. The goofiest motherfuckers ever, bro. Fake. Just fake people inundated with nonsense based in perception and not reality. And I allowed myself to be swooned by people because I was like, oh, but you're kind of a big deal to somebody. So like, oh, you can have influence over me. Fuck all of that.
Mm.
No, bro. No.
I think that goes back to the self-betrayal thing too, because I'm sure that there are people that circle is exactly what they're supposed to be a part of. It's exactly what they're supposed to do and all that kind of thing. But the self-betrayal of, yeah, but it seems that you've got a big audience or you've got a big reach or there's a lot of people that I like you. I think that we know, man. I think that we know in that spidey sense is like, you're not somebody who's supposed to be in my life. And I think it goes back to that self-love and self-betrayal thing is like, there's something I'm willing to betray in myself because I see something here that is like going to allow me to get out of that alignment. I think I also think that that's a terrible way to make friends because other people can also sniff out when you're not being you.
Yeah.
And if they're willing to keep you around when you're not being you, the whole equation is fucked.
And the thing that is weird is that I was me. And that's what's so funny about self-hatred and that being the constant opposition of my life. Because like some really cool people, like I ask myself all this all of the time. Like, do my friends really like me? Do they think I'm that good of a dude? Like it's fucked up, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, well, obviously, like, you know, yeah. Survey says, yeah, they keep hanging out with you. They keep in touch. Like,
yeah.
Survey says, yeah. My girl every day, she's just waking up like, okay, I got to remember, I got to tell him like 15 times today how much I love him and how special I think he is and how talented he is. And, you know, so it's like, no, bro, it's like, believe in that shit. It's a really hard thing for me to let in, compliments.
Me too.
And love.
Yeah.
So like, that's part of me learning to love myself too, is I don't think I was capable of doing that in the past. And it's like, again, much like, I'm careful whose words I let in too. It's like, if you're not in my inner circle, even you giving me praise, like fans say that all the time. I've always thought that was really interesting. I love you. You don't know me. It's a weird thing to say. You say, I love you. I go, yeah, bro, I love you too. Because you know me, you've seen all of the facets of me.
Yeah.
I know you mean that.
Right.
So it's the same thing. It's like, just like I'm not going to let anybody's criticism affect my walk, I'm also not letting anybody's praise, you know, some stranger that doesn't know the ins and outs of me, the mistakes I've made, tell me I'm the shit. That can't change my walk either. I can't believe that.
I'm fascinated in this actually, because it's one of the biggest downfalls that I've noticed in myself is that, in the past, I have tended to outsource my sense of self-worth to other people. And how that manifested is a lot of times I felt that I had to perform in order to be loved.
Same.
Right? I had to be the starting quarterback. I had to be the 4.0 student. I had to be the one with the hot girlfriend or drive the cool car, like whatever the thing was. Because then when I got those compliments, you're like, oh, well, people must love me. They must think I'm cool if they want to be around me for the quarterback thing, or they want me to help with their study group, or whatever the thing is. And the natural progression of this podcast, if it goes well, is like the more stories like yours that I'm able to share, the more people that continue to listen to it. And this thing gets big to a point that, like, you know, I might run into a position where people are telling me, I love you, and I've never met them before, potentially.
Well, the healing is real. The adoration is not.
Right.
We've talked about
that.
Yeah.
But what I'm curious about is like being somebody who seems to struggle with a similar thing with, like, I don't feel a lot of times that I'm good enough, and I struggle with that self-love thing. One of my favorite unteachable lessons is that fame will not fix your sense of self-worth. And I'm really curious for you, like, as somebody who struggled with that thing over time, how have those like compliments and that adoration, how has that evolved? Because I'd imagine that I love you, your song changed my life and it saved my life conversation doesn't go the same now as it did the first time that you heard it.
No, bro, because you're always going to be in the hotel by yourself. So that other shit it's just like, it's like cocaine, bro. It's Fugazi. It's short. So it's like, if my food is those compliments, like, I'm going to get hungry because that'll only fill you up for a few minutes. Each one of those compliments, it's so short-lived. So like, yeah, bro, if I'm standing at the merch booth and letting people tell me all of these wonderful things that my music has done in their life, which is beautiful. Because to me, that's almost a separate thing from me. I didn't do that. I made this thing. You did all of that. This was the thing that made you wake up every day and you hit play and go, yeah, that's right. I'm going to do that thing. I'm going to fix my shit. So it's like, I didn't do anything. You did. I just was like, if anything, a cheerleader, you know? But it's like, I just use that thing because that's what tour is, right? It's manic depressive in nature. The fucking show, everyone's singing your shit. And then everyone wants to talk to you. Everyone wants to get a piece of you. And then you fast forward 2 hours and you're sitting in a hotel room by yourself.
Oh,
it's fucked up. It's literally manic depression by nature. It's why it fucks people up. And it's why people like me at the beginning go, not me. I have this super strong foundation. I have a family at home. I have X, I have Y. I didn't have God. That was the missing link before. So it's like, if I'm not spiritually healthy, it's like I have armor on, but it's like made of wood. Like it eventually will get chipped through.
And when you're on the road for weeks at a time.
Bro, we used to do 5 to 8 at a time. So that constant 5 days a week, we love you, we love you. Then the next day you're driving being like, fuck, this is all. And then when you're driving, you're thinking about everything that's going on back home. It's like being in jail. You're like, man, I wonder what's up back there. I hope she's good. I hope the kids are good. I wonder if they miss me. I wonder if anybody misses me.
Yeah. They haven't called me yet today. That's why.
Yeah. And then I would start to detach where I'd be like, oh, well, I'm not even a real person. I'm like this thing that generates money and I give these people jobs. And that's what started happening to me as I started disassociating. I'm not a real person.
Is that what you meant by like, you start to have like this division in your life where it's like, I've got me on the road, me tour. This is one life. And then I've got this other life.
Because I couldn't do it if I didn't do that. There's 2 different versions of me.
Did it hurt too bad being away from it?
Yes. Yes. It was like, dude, if I try to even maintain, like I used to hate calling home because it reminded me that it existed. Or if I could go a few days without, I would just be like, nope, I'm here, bro. This is what I do. I ride in buses and I sing songs and this is my life. And then a tour would end and I would get home and be like, so what would happen was I would spend a lot of the time on the road being homesick. And then when I was home, I needed to get back out on the road so I could like have a break from this reality was a break from that reality. And it was just this ping pong game for years.
And there's so much baked into it too, where like, you've got all of that like manic depressive adoration and all of that kind of stuff that's happening when you're on the road. And then all of a sudden you go back home. Is there whiplash where like nobody's screaming for you? No randoms are telling you you changed their life?
For me, man, and God bless her, bro. It's not, I always had this vision and that vision's real now. I always had this vision of getting home, and someone running across the fucking room to jump into my arms. And I can't believe you're home. I missed you so much.
Mm-hmm.
And that really ain't it. That wasn't it for a long time. I also get it. Like, motherfucker, I've been at work with these 3 kids, taking people to volleyball and fucking soccer and dealing with a toddler. Your turn.
Right.
So I get it, but that shit, it was like death by 1,000 cuts. Those little cuts of like, oh, I didn't feel received when I came home. All right, I pull back a little bit.
So then it's like, okay, well, time to skate back to tour for a little bit.
Yep. And then that game, what was happening is like, here's reality, this tug, these little tugs on each side, tour life, real life, tour life, real life. That thing finally snapped for me where I was like, I don't give a fuck about anything anymore then. If this is it, I'm just this fucking dude that's got to go make this money for everyone. And you don't even give a fuck that I'm out here making this money for everyone. Fuck everybody. Fuck me, especially for being dumb enough to get tricked into this.
Right. Especially when you said at the beginning, like, I'm not going to get,
And that's just it. It's this thing of like, fuck, I got me. They didn't get me. I got me. I was the one saying yes. No one held a gun to my head and told me to do anything. I wanted it.
Right.
So I think there's just this like, and again, going back in time and having grace for that dude of like, well, yeah, bro, you were trying to do this without like the most important piece. Cause like, if I'm not spiritually healthy, then all of the world's going to get me.
Mm-hmm.
The opposite of God is what designed this world. That's why I think things are so damn tempting when we're out there. So it's like, if you're going out there with wood armor, like, yeah, it might work for a little while. But eventually there's going to be holes in it because these people are using metal.
Yeah.
So it's like, and the enemy is a tricky one, dude. He doesn't show up as like a weird goblin. He shows up as a pretty lady in cocaine. So it's like being mindful of like, I'm not going to get tricked, but the way that I don't get tricked is if I'm in constant communication with God.
Yeah.
And his hands on my back being like, no, bro, I got you. I got you.
That's one of the biggest shifts that I've noticed in you in the last year, probably. And even like when we first started the podcast, is you were like, I think right around then you were like really diving back into like into scripture and all that kind of stuff. And I'm curious what bringing that back into your life has looked like.
Well, bro, there's been a great, it's a weird thing to talk about publicly. There's been a great battle for me, man, since I was really young. Um, I've felt this spiritual tug of war my entire life. Whether it was where I grew up and the things that I was drawn to, and then these other really beautiful, pure things that I was drawn to. And there's been this tug of war, and I think that self-hatred is like, I went to the night after that night that I told you about where I like freaked out, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to eat with Brian and his friend. I was like, bro, I was just cooking myself last night in this self-hatred and disgust. And it's like, well, what brings people to God? What are the selling points of God? It's love and grace. More than anything, it is love, forgiveness, and grace, because forgiveness is baked into that grace.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, feeling that battle my whole life and then really letting God work in my life is seeing that this shit's not hypothetical. That it's like, if God is love, grace, compassion, then the opposite of that is me sitting in a room flogging myself and self-hatred, right?
Yeah.
So if my biggest opposition is self-hatred, what's the antidote? Self-love. Well, it's the purest form of love and grace. It's God's love because it's non-conditional.
Mm-hmm.
His love isn't contingent on what I did back there. It's contingent on what I do going this way. So it's like that to me, bro. I have a superpower. I'm like, no, I made an agreement with this dude in making this new record.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I don't know what happens after it. It feels like something really big because I promised him I would make this thing for him and I did it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It seems very deep and prophetic to be like, I had this spiritual experience. God asked me to make this thing and I made it. Nothing happens. Okay. But something happens because I was like, yeah, no, you pulled me out of this thing time and time again. And now you're actually teaching me how to walk. Oh, fuck.
How can I walk for you?
How can I walk for you? Yeah. Because I wouldn't have none of this shit. I could have been born with a shit voice. I don't know why my brain puts words together like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it does effortlessly. I'm not one of those dudes. I'm not sitting down, I spent 3 weeks trying to find a way to, bro. I turned the faucet on.
Yeah.
So it's like, there's also a responsibility to pay reverence for those gifts. So like, that's where my relationship with touring is now. I'm closing the chapter on touring as a form of self-sacrifice.
Well,
it's not, it's service, dude. Blessed, joyous service. How lucky am I that that's what I got to go give to the world? I have to go show up and do the thing that I'm naturally good at. And these old songs that had countless stories and babies and, all this insanely cool shit and other people's stories attached to it. We're going to go get together in all of these different cities with all of these different people with these beautiful stories attached to these songs. We're going to sing these songs together. I got nothing to bitch about, bro. That's not tour life, home life. This is my life. The whole thing is my life. My life here as a coach, as a father, as a partner is the same thing as my work. Work, doing that. It's work.
Mm-hmm.
That's my work. And it's cool fucking work, bro. And I just am not going to allow myself to fall into this victim trap anymore. Yeah. I did this. I prayed for it. Fucking violently prayed for it,
Yeah.
So for me to be like, oh, woe is me. I'm just done. There's parts of the business that are shitty. There's always going to be hiccups that happen on tour and deals that go bad, whatever. But it's like, as a whole, I'm just like, it feels like I'm doing this thing with somebody now. Because I'm doing it with God and for him as like a thank you for giving me this thing. Because the little like 14, 15-year-old kid that was like, I ain't doing that. I ain't doing that other shit. And God's smiling and going, yeah, I know. I have a whole thing for you. I have a whole thing for you. Don't worry. You won't have to. We'll make sure you're not on a roof. So it's like, what a gift. So yeah, bro, I'm showing up in fucking celebration. Yeah.
How does that feel when you're 2 weeks into tour? Because I've noticed that shift in you, especially in the last couple of tours or last couple of times you've gone out. How does that feel different when you're pulling up to a show or when you're leaving a show?
I think 3 weeks is the magic number for me.
Okay.
No more 5 to 8 weeks. It's too much.
Yeah.
And maybe if, the perfect scenario comes up where it's like, hey man, we have to do this, but it's like, I'm not going to say never. Mm-hmm. Maybe again, we'll do a tour that long. For me, I just had a really cool conversation with my son today about this. Like, hey, I got a tour coming up like here in a couple of weeks. I got to bounce like right out. We just made his birthday invitation and mm-hmm. I leave the day after his birthday. And he's like, I know you leave because you love me. I was like, what do you mean? He goes, well, we have a really cool life. And I know that we wouldn't have this life if you didn't go and sing. So like you go sing because you love me. I'm not going to add or take away. I got no notes. If that's the way that your 8-year-old brain understands it, I'm going to leave it right there. Great. Yes, correct. That is why I go do it. So like that gives me a sense of peace. Really what happens, bro, at that 2-week mark of the tour, I love my life at home. I didn't used to. So I would disassociate and be like, that's fine. I'll just stay on tour forever. I fucking love my life. I love working. I love that I have a couple privates every day. I love working with the fighters. I love teaching class. I love that I get to see Will every day. I love getting to cook all my meals. Like I love my life at home, dude. Me and my girl are best fucking friends, dude. Mm-hmm. All we do, you know what I mean? Like we're just making sweet love and laughing and planning our future. And I just love my life at home. And I didn't used to love my life, period, really.
Yeah.
So I love my life. So, I think that's the thing that makes me super homesick, which is a good thing. Mm-hmm. So for me, I think to answer your question, it's reframing, because I can't speed up time.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think I need, when I feel that, like, I'm ready to be home. That's why I'm like, you're going to be with me for a week. That's a huge thing. Mm-hmm. Chloe's going to be with me for a week. That's a huge thing.
Yeah.
Parker's going to be with me the last week. That's,
Yeah.
I'm starting to realize like, these are the little tricks that I need.
Yeah.
I need to have an auxiliary person that's close with me,
Yeah.
But I think it's just reframing that when I feel homesick, instead of making me depressed, that making me feel joy. I'm like, how beautiful that you've built a life that you don't want to be removed from.
Yeah.
That's a cool thing.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's that like be where your feet are thing. It's funny to me because I've heard it and said it so many times now that it's not losing its luster, but sometimes I have to remind myself. And I think that that's the thing. It's like what you used to do was saying like, I'm going to run from my home life when I'm on tour. And then as soon as I get home, I'm going to run from that thing, like trying to go back on tour. It's like you miss both in that scenario.
That's exactly it.
You miss the beautiful parts about being on tour. You miss the fun things about like getting to play music, getting to hang with the boys, getting to do like weird little side quests and shit. You miss all that. And then as soon as you get home, it's like, fuck, I missed all that stuff. I better get back out there.
Yeah.
So I mean, I've had so many conversations with people like in business and life and all these different things where I'm like, it keeps coming back to that for me, man. Where it's like, if you can just like suck yourself into like, I can't be anywhere else besides right here, right now.
That's it.
I either get to enjoy this and then enjoy wherever the fuck I end up after this, or I get to miss both of them.
Yeah, that's really, when you put it like that, that really is the only option. Because like, well, right now is not going to stop being right now. So, so like you can be miserable here and then you can remember later that one time that you were in Costa Mesa and you were miserable.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can be like, and here's the thing too, bro. I also don't want to make light of how hard the lifestyle is. I watched Malachi's first step. It's funny. I haven't played Mo's Alley in Santa Cruz probably since then, but I watched Malachi's first steps over, on a cell phone screen in the alley behind Mo's Alley in Santa Cruz. I wasn't there when he said his first words. You miss shit. I missed Chloe's graduation because I was at a festival. So it's like, that's also real. You know, the job, the work demands a lot. And I think that like what we're talking about, the thing that makes that work worth it for me is that if I put it in a spiritual context of like, no, I'm fulfilling, you know, what Buddhists will call Dharma. It's like, okay, well, this is my spiritual work that I was put here to do. So like when it's in that context, then those things don't feel monumental. It's like, yeah, well, he's walking now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it would have been cool to see it, but like in the grand scheme of life, I taught him how to play chess. You know what I mean? I taught him, you know, so it's also reframing those, but yeah, that's really it. And that's something that I'm like really excited to kind of go into this tour with, like actually being like, I'm happy and loved and blessed and present. And I come back to this thing with Trev all the time. A lot of stress that comes on tour is financial. Like that tour you were on with us in Florida, bro, that was like pretty much no matter what happens, I'm losing 13 grand.
Mm-hmm.
Those are hard pills to swallow when you're out there. Cause you're like, well, I still got to go play these shows and do these VIP things. And I'm still going to lose 13. I'm paying 13 grand to be away from my son right now.
Right.
Fuck out of here.
Yeah.
But paid the cost to be the boss. I'm not a side guy. This is my business. And when I overshoot and I'll have to suffer from that. And I'm not alone in that.
Mm-hmm.
Like bands I know that are doing really well. Like, yeah, we just started making money a year ago.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's just part of owning a business. But like, I remember Trevor saying one time to me, I think I was freaking out because I lost an agent or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just like, dude, you have no evidence that it's not going to work out. Like you have a whole bunch of evidence that it's going to work out. None that it's not. And you spend so much time worrying about it not working out. And when he put it like that, we were like, yeah, you're making me sound like I'm really dumb. You know, and he's like, well, if we put it into any other context, it is. It's like, bro, even a couple months, you know, a month or so ago, I just have to remember, like, God's not going to let me fail. But I had to pay for a whole bunch of stuff at once. And then I had forgot that I had bought the vinyl.
Mm-hmm.
So like I go to buy a flight with my credit card and it's like, you know, your credit card's over. I'm like, nope, there was like $6,500 on that. No, the vinyl charge went through. So I'm sitting there like for the first time in a long time, next month's mortgage wasn't in my account. And I was like, in that moment was like, okay, I can freak out or it's fine. It's going to be fine. It's always fine.
Yeah.
And I did. I was just like, I'm not going to trip on it. I made like an honest post of it. I was like, hey, just so y'all know, for all you out there that say, I love you, buy a motherfucking concert ticket then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Help me get some of this money back.
Yeah.
But some random European streaming money hit 3 days later. Some instruments that I had put up for sale, 3 of them sold in like 4 days. And I was just like, oh shit, okay, never mind. I got 15 grand. We're good.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
So it's just like that. It always goes like that, bro. So it's like, also I got to remember that on tour too. Like, even if shit looks weird, it's like, you know, whatever, bro. It's fine. I'm not going to die about it, you know?
For sure.
You know,
Yeah.
like.
Yeah. It is. It's so interesting because like I had this, for whatever reason, this vision that like when you're going through hard shit and it's right in your face, like it looks like you're just like trudging through hell, right? Everything's on fire around you and it's fucking terrible. But as soon as you like break through that thing and you start feeling a little better, you get back on your bullshit, like the money hits the account, the fucking, you know, the friends show back up, the business, whatever your thing is. As soon as that thing ends up in the rearview mirror, it gets like this golden hue about it.
Yes.
Where it's like, man, remember how tough that was? Remember how stressed we were? And you remember like, that was there were parts of that were kind of fun because it was crazy, wasn't it? And like all of a sudden, like those become the stories that you tell.
It's like the first tour. Like, I know it doesn't feel like it, but these are going to be the good old days.
Yeah, man.
It's exactly that. I journaled the other day, when our heart hurts the most is when we typically learn the most important shit. And I think that's so true. And boy, when we're in it, do we hate it. Whether it's a breakup or, you know, whatever. It was brutal, the most heart-wrenching shit ever. But without fail, when removed from it, when far enough removed from it, we look back and be like, bro, I would not know X, Y, Z about myself. I wouldn't have my field notes. And I don't know how I'd get by without these field notes, but I wouldn't have got them if I wouldn't have been back there. So it's like, yeah, that's the name of the game. Don't get angry. Get your pen out.
One of the hardest things about that is somebody who like, when you realize that, right? When you have that moment where it's like, man, the hardest shit are all of the things that like had to happen to make me right now. And you're grateful for that. What's on the other side of that coin is the next time something pops up, instead of you feeling sad for yourself and being like, fuck, man, I don't deserve this. How could this person do me wrong? How could this and that? And like being able to like kind of have the self-pity, the world's against me right now sort of thing. Instead, what you get is, oh shit, I'm in another one of those moments right now. And for me to make the most out of this, I have to sit in it.
Yeah.
And it's way harder to sit in it and to feel it and to look at yourself and be like, what am I being taught right now? That is way harder than running the program of like, nah, fuck this. I'm just going to shove those skeletons in the closet. We're going to keep it pushing, act like nothing's wrong right now. And then just like blow by it. Cause then you missed it. You missed the entire book of field notes. You didn't write anything down. Whereas as soon as you know that these hard moments is like what shapes you and what makes you the person that you are, the next time that one of those comes up, you look at it going like, well, fuck, for me to get the most out of this, I have to feel every moment of it. I have to use it as self-reflection. I have to make those field notes, and then we get to get it pushing. You don't get to run that program anymore where you just like blow by it and go, nah, I'm good.
Yeah.
Skeleton in the closet.
Yeah. No, and you see dudes that operate like that. I live for, I just said to my buddy DV, he had sent me a text and we were going back and forth and I said, nothing quite gets me excited like seeing tough guys cry. and I didn't mean it in a like beating up tough guys.
Right.
I meant it of like seeing a dude that's like stuffed it all down, trying to pretend like he doesn't have a heart. And then it smokes him. You know, Brady was saying that the other day when I was telling him that, or a couple weeks ago, whatever, when I was going through that thing, he's like, tough guys feel all of it. That's the tough thing to do. That's the gangster ass way to do it. Stare it in the face. Yeah, fuck me up, bro. Do it. Like when I was in Bali, bro, I like had this vision. I have a broken finger, the sickest I've ever been. It felt like I was like, the visualization in my head was like I would put my hand down, my hand would get kicked out. Put my other hand down, it would get kicked out. Until I finally like rolled on my back and looked up. What the fuck do you want from me? Feel this shit. You doing this. You're making these choices. So it's like to sit in that's the most gangster shit ever. The pussy shit would be to be like, I don't want this right now. I'm going to have a drink. I'm just going to get drunk. You know? Okay, bro. Well, that snowball is going to be rolling down the hill. And when you get down there, it's going to be twice as big next time you see it. So it's like, yeah, bro, that's the thing. Brady says that shit all the time. Always the hard way. And I finally asked him, like, but what if there's an easy way? He's like, no, I don't mean the hard way. Like I'm going to take the weird crooked stairs instead of the elevator. I mean, like the hard thing to do, gangster's thing to do would be to put the weight vest on and hit the stairs. I'm not doing that just because it's hard. It's like, no, it's hard. I was like, oh, I get it. That's dope.
Yeah.
You know, like the hard way. Yeah. Not the difficult way, the tough way.
Yeah. You know, the thing that I want to add to that is like one of the biggest realizations that I've had over the last year or so is that I always looked at escapism as being like the soft way out, right? Drinking, like vices, whatever the thing is, right?
Rampant.
Yeah. And what I didn't notice though was that there are a lot of vices that are in disguise. And I literally had to beat this realization out of myself at a fucking fighter practice one night where I was going through some shit and was like really in my feels about it. And I didn't want to be. It was one of those ones where I was like, I don't know if I really want to feel this one, man. Come on. And so instead I'm like, I'm going to lift twice a day. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to spar hard. I'm going to like just, be on my bullshit. And what I found was that it's also the soft way out to do the tough guy thing and be like, nah, man, I'm not going to feel this. Nah, hey, shit doesn't bug me.
That was the last 2 years of my marriage.
Yeah, I'm cool. Because it's not. And the thing is like the reason that's the soft way out is because sure, you can go run about it. You can go fight about it. You can go build a business about it. You can go do whatever that thing is. But the most fucked up part about it is those versions of cope are the most dangerous because people compliment you for them.
Yep.
Wow, man, you're so driven. Wow, you're getting into such good shape. Wow, man, look at that. Like, you just took a fight. That's fucking awesome. What was that like? Mm-hmm. Nobody does that when they see you at the bar on a Tuesday.
No.
And so
that's a really good point.
And that to me was like, I realized I was like, man, all of this shit that I've been shoving down in relationships or in the self-work I haven't been doing and all of this stuff, I've got a cool business to show for it. Mm. My physical health is pretty good. I've gotten pretty good at fighting. But all of those things, like how much of that was me actually running away from the real hard shit that I just wasn't willing to do. And that stuff plays out eventually, man. I mean, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Is like, you can either macrodose it up front, or you can microdose it for a long time, but it's going to hit you at some point.
Yeah. So like Parker Brown said to me, you know, we really rekindled our relationship in 2020. And he was like, man, just as someone that's always kind of seen your heart, he's like, you know, during that time, seeing you kind of on the David Goggins thing is like, nope, this is what I eat. This is the time that I spend with my son. I go to the gym. I don't have feelings. That was how I coped with all of the things that I felt in my marriage and all the ways that I felt not enough. Was I was just like, well, I'm just going to become the most dangerous motherfucker ever. And I do not make excuses. Like, bro, if we got to the hotel at 2 a.m. and we had to be back in the van at 6, I'm still hitting the gym.
Yep. Yeah.
You know, and everyone would be like, you're fucking crazy. And I'd be like, I know.
Right.
It was just a sad, hurt little kid in there that just needed to be comforted.
For sure.
You know? And yeah, no, it's funny. I have always said that about a friend of mine. I'm going to fucking blow him up. But every time I see him when he's in outrageous shape, I know something's up. He's always in good shape.
Yeah.
Sometimes when I see him and I'm like, dude, you're in fucking G.I. Joe action figure shape. Are you okay?
Yeah. You're right.
You know?
Yeah.
The answer is usually no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a real interesting one, man. I've one thing I'm really curious about before we get out of here is I've been having some moments in therapy lately that have been really impactful for me. And one of the most impactful ones, I think we're on opposite sides of the coin of. So I was doing a visualization practice where essentially me now ran into me 2 years from now. And me 2 years from now was living in Austin, was doing certain things with the podcast, had this essence about him and all this different stuff. And like, I was like, to the point where it almost feels like a memory where I really felt being there. And it was very impactful for me because I think that me now needed to see that. What I'm curious about is that was so impactful for me being like, holy shit, it's possible. Like I can do this thing. I can see me being in this position where I did it, where I'm proud of myself, where I'm like looking back at me now being like, bro, you have no idea how exciting this is about to be. You've done that. Like 10 years ago, you do this cool thing. You're on tour commemorating it right now. And you're like closing that journal chapter. Like, dude, what would it be like being where you're at now, going back and like standing with that dude and having that conversation as you're turning this chapter?
I feel like he'd be like, I know. What
would you say to him? Would you be like, no, you don't?
I'd say, no, you don't. Yeah, that's the irony of it. If you went back and told 25-year-old me like, hey, man, yeah, you're going to have fans. The whole thing's going to be cool. You're going to make a bunch of dope shit. You're going to become friends with all your favorite artists. I'd go, I know. Yeah. And then I'd be like, wait till you see what you have to go through to find your heart, though. Yeah, because that was the quest that I was really on. The rock climbing, the skiing, all that was just looking. Drugs, traveling. I just wanted to know what the fuck I was here for. And then even when I was like doing what I was put here to do, I just never felt like that because I never felt whole. You know, there's this song on the new record called Drivin', where I say, grown now OG, now you get to hold me. Because I'm like, yeah, bro, I just have been little fragments of myself. I've been like, this is tour Drew, this is this Drew. And now I'm like, no, I've integrated all of it. This is me, bro. Whether we're coaching or touring or whatever. So yeah, when I go back to that kid, I just am like, man. Because what's funny about listening to those songs, I would say inarguably like the most hippie songs.
Yeah.
Bro, I was like, I had a super short temper, like severe PTSD symptoms.
Yeah.
You know, like if the Google Maps fucked up when we were going somewhere, I'd be like, oh, fuck. You know, it would just send me off. I had no control of my emotions. There's no part of me that knew how to go with the flow.
Mm-hmm.
I like had learned how to control every piece of my environment to feel safe. And I still do that in some ways. But like, I feel like I've just integrated all of the stuff. And that kid's notes were fucked. You know, like my notes now are super solid.
Yeah. Dang. You don't know what you'll have to go through in order to find your heart.
Yeah. Cause that's what we're all really looking for if we're smart, is we're trying to find that.
What does that mean?
Our heart is the reason that we do everything. Why do you love the way you do? Or why do you not love the way you do? Why are you so passionate? How come you don't have any passion for anything? Like your heart is going to tell you all of those answers. It's the like, how you do one thing is how you'll do anything. It's like, well, yeah, at the root of that thing is your relationship with yourself, your heart, that love. Because if you're not in tap with that, you're going to do everything fucked up. It's like only when you're like, no, I know who I am, flaws and all. I love me wholeheartedly. And I'm okay with the fact I'm going to make these other mistakes. I'll keep adding to my notes, but like I love who I am and I'm going to move through life with that kind of bubble around me. Mm-hmm. It's like, yeah, I think that's the goal for everyone. I just don't think people are capable of doing the things that a lot of people are capable of doing the things we're talking about. Most people will do anything they can to not feel pain.
Yeah.
It takes a weird dude to be like, no, I know what's on the other end of this. Hit me, daddy. Like most people, our whole culture is, that escapism piece. Our whole culture is built around that thing.
Yeah.
And that's not a heart that's like distracting from everything but that. So it's like, the heart is the like, what's the purest way that I can show up for any given thing, good, bad, or otherwise,
Yeah. How does somebody know when they're in a moment where it's like, or I guess, how does somebody find it? Because I think that there's the hard way always. Mm-hmm. But how does somebody?
That's a weird road too, dude.
Yeah. How does somebody know that they're on the road, and like, how does somebody find that?
I don't know. I think it's so different for every single person. Like for some people, it takes one super powerful psychedelic experience and then they just like magic. I've seen it.
Yeah.
They unlearn their entire past. Oh my God, I'm not that at all. Onward. Mm-hmm. That was not the ride for me.
Yeah.
It helped. Those experiences help for sure. I think for me, it's like I was saying, man, that context is so important. That context is so important. It's like, well, why are none of my relationships healthy? Like, well, have you ever had a healthy relationship? What is a healthy relationship? Has anyone modeled that for you? Mm-hmm. For me, it was putting that context of like, oh, there's actually a whole giant empty room here for grace.
Right.
There's a lot of room for it over here. Because a lot of time, you just don't know what you don't know.
For sure.
You know what I mean? And if you're not in relationship with yourself, you're not gonna have the self-awareness and knowledge to be like, oh, I'm approaching a break. Mm-hmm. Like, nope, not me. I don't break.
Yeah.
Which is where I was at. I was like, no, not me. I'm just going to keep walking away from this thing, mm-hmm. And then it'll smoke you. So it's like, for me, it's the grace to be like, oh yeah, no, that's right. I'm fully a human and
yeah,
just have to deal with these things as they arise. And that's part of it. And running from it only makes it harder.
Right. Yeah. I think that, yeah, maybe it's not a easy question to be like, here's how you find your heart. But I think that acting in a way where you are showing up for yourself and giving yourself that self-love and not betraying yourself, I think that it gets you closer and closer each time.
Yeah. And the thing behind the thing, like I was talking about at the very beginning, it's like emotions can lie to us, man. A lot of times they're pretty knee-jerk and completely out of context. We feel something and we're automatically like, oh, this must be real. It's like, bro, I can tell you from a lot of experience, most of the super painful feelings that I've gone through were completely self-inflicted and not real. I've spent a lot of time with like going through this industry with a chip on my shoulder, thinking that there's a whole bunch of people that don't like me. But the reality is they probably don't even fucking think about me. Mm-hmm. And if they do, fuck them. Then say something when you see me. But probably not. And even if they do have a problem, they sure as shit aren't going to see something when they see me. So fuck them anyway. Mm-hmm. So it's like being real selective about what I'm carrying. Like, well, I'm not willing to carry resentment, especially for someone that I never see. I'm not willing to be angry at my dad. For what? I'm a bad motherfucker, bro. And I wouldn't be me had I not gone through all of that shit. My therapist pushes back on that all the time. And I'm like, I'm not saying I'm grateful for it or that it was okay.
Yeah.
I'm saying that I love who I am and I wouldn't be me had I not gone through it. And if you remove that piece of my story, I don't know who I'd be. And I'm not willing to fucking roll the dice on it. I like me. And if you go picking chunks, it's like, well, I don't know who I'd be. Maybe that is the dude that's like, well, I like the cubicle. I got my pictures here and I cut a little fountain, like maybe the dude that didn't have my childhood ends up lame as fuck. So like, I'm not willing to roll the dice on it. I like my story. I love my story. I'm grateful for every single piece of it. I'm grateful for everything I've gone through and had to unpack because it taught me who I am.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure. Knowing that about yourself now, what's, when you look at like opening this next journal, if we're going to look forward 10 years and call this like the midpoint or a turning point, what do you hope to write in that journal?
Oh, wisdom, bro. It hit me the other day. I was just like, man, young William hits me up with questions every day about a myriad of things. And I'm like, oh, I'm in my fucking uncle phase, bro. I'm unks now. My beard's all gray and shit. It hit me. And Parker's like, no. I'm like, yeah, no, I am. And I'm about that shit. Like, let me get a little money so I can get this Cadillac and pull up on the barbecue. Hit everyone with some slick one-liners. You're just trying to keep it low to the flow, baby. Like, I'm in that era. So I think like this next notebook, bro, is going to be full of some of the flyest, most wisdom-soaked shit ever. Like, I'm good with me. I'm good with God, and everything is going through a spiritual filter. And I'm also like 100% committed to keeping it absolutely real, which has always kind of been my forte. That's always kind of been my ace in the hole. Summer used to always say, you're never wrong. It's just your delivery that's off. And I would always be like, then fuck off. I'm going to say it like it is. But now there's like this loving compassion piece. So it's like, well, I think a better way, I'm going to say it like it is, but I think a better way to say it might be.
Right.
I feel like I'm in that area, bro. I'm finally getting softer. Like I put a lot of, Brady pointed this out to me one time and it's just echoed in my head over and over. He's like, you're on this quest to feel safe, but you just keep putting more and more eggs in the basket of being dangerous, thinking that is the same thing. But you being more dangerous doesn't necessarily make you more safe. Because safe is a feeling. Safe isn't necessarily a thing. Safe is a feeling. If I'm always focused on like being dangerous, then I never feel safe because I'm always,
yeah.
So I got PTSD. That just is what it is. But I'm in this era of like, I guess the big thing is like, yeah, what if someone does pop out? We'll handle it. I'm more prepared than 99% of the population to handle that. So it's like, just being softer, bro, and smiling more. And I've been noticing my time with my son is like so much lighter and more playful. And I just be accidentally dropping game all the time now. Cause
sounds like he's hitting you with the back now too.
I know. But it's cause I got these notes now where I think I was in denial that I was even taking them. But like getting honest with this process and it's just been in my face. I have to talk about it with Matt or Greg or someone every day. The 10-year anniversary, the 10 year. And I'm like, so I've been in this constant state of reflection for the past 3 months since we started filming that shit.
Yeah.
Of being like, oh yeah, this really is a thing. All these stories, all of the lessons on who am I? Who was I then? Who am I now? What's different? All of the things we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
So I'm like steeped in it. So like moving forward, I just am like, yeah, I just have such a dope thing of notes and I'm leaning into this, this era of like, yeah, just trust myself now. And I'm excited to be able to pass game to people because I've learned so much. Yeah. So I don't know what that looks like. Maybe it's just young William learning a bunch of free shit. I don't know.
I'll sign up for that program.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's cool. It's cool to think about you knowingly writing down the notes now. And then also like making some photocopies here and there and being like, you know what, man, I think you need this one. And then you could probably use 3 of these. So take extras. It's cool, man. And like, as somebody who has directly benefited from the fucking notes that you've taken, man, it's it's one thing to go through all the shit. It's another thing to feel all of it, but to be willing to take all of the things that you've learned and like actually share it with somebody. That's like, dude, I cannot thank you enough for all of the steps of that process, for being somebody who's willing to go through the shit, for being somebody who's willing to sit in the shit, and then also turn around and be like, I'm willing to go back and tap into the fucked up stuff that I've had to go through in order to help you with this situation, even though it has nothing to do with the program you're running right now. That's, dude, it's been so beneficial to me. And like, I'm so glad that you're in a spot where your thing, like you have a platform to share that with people, whether it's through your music or the conversations you have at the gym or whatever the fuck. Like, you've built the coolest life of being able to be in the service of people and like give that. And I just like, I look up to that so much, dude. I think it's cool as fuck. Bro. So
yeah, likewise too, man. You know, I think you were the reason that edible turned on me. I think it was a direct correlation of us having that conversation of like, it opened some door where I was like, did I feel everything that I did wrong? You know? So it's like, but that's, to me, that's what I mean, bro. So it's like those kind of relationships only. That only. Like, no, I don't hang out in the shallow end anymore, bro. Like, you got to be able to hang in the deep end, no floaties. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No floaties allowed, dude. Yeah. Yeah. That's just it. Otherwise, I'll wave at you, but that's it. But yeah, no, man, it feels good to be where I'm at and genuinely happy. I'm excited to be out on the road. That's a cool reflection that I get. Because people, I'll read comments or something. He seems this. And I'm excited because I'm telling you, bro, I'm going to screenshot a bunch on this tour. He seemed genuinely happy.
Do it, man.
You know, like I'm telling you, bro, yeah. I'm just going to radiate this shit because I'm going into these. I don't have any. Through the rehearsal of the songs, like I was telling you when I was practicing, I'm like, I don't want to play some. There's only a couple of them. Mm-hmm. So I don't want to play this shit. And now I'm like, well, no, you have to, bro, because you wrote it. You know, you're going to turn back. You're going to look at that kid. You're going to wink at him. You're just going to have to do it 75 times. Yeah. You know, but it's all right. Yeah. So it's like, no, man, I'm excited about it now. I'm not nervous about it anymore. I'm not like loathing it. I'm excited.
Yeah, that's going to be cool shit. I'm excited to be able to be there for a couple of them, man. It's going to be sick.
Yeah, cool stage design. I just got all the lights and shit. So like, no, it's going to be special, dude. It's exciting.
Yeah, I'm stoked. All right, well, we'll see everybody on the road then.
Yes, sir.
All right, this is fun, dude. Thank you. Love you, bro. And we love everybody who's listening. Be where your feet are, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.